How did ancient humans survive the deadliest winters on Earth? Let's find out together! You step outside. The air bites your skin in seconds. Your breath turns to fog. Somewhere inside you, a voice says, "Go back in, it's too cold." For most of human history, there was no back in. For tens of thousands of years, your ancestors faced winters that could kill a healthy adult in under an hour. No heated homes, no down jackets, no emergency room. Just skin, fire, and knowledge passed down from person to person. And somehow, they didn't just survive. They thrived, spread across the coldest places on Earth, and raised children who grew up to do it again. How? Let's start with the cold itself. During the last ice age, temperatures across northern Europe and Asia regularly dropped far below anything most of us have ever felt. Wind chill made it worse. Without shelter, hypothermia can set in within 30 minutes at extreme temperatures. Your body's core has to stay near 37 degrees Celsius, or your organs begin to shut down. This is not a small problem to solve. This is a daily life or death engineering challenge. And your ancestors solved it over and over for thousands of generations. The first clue comes from something you might not expect: sewing needles. Archaeologist Ian Gilligan has spent years studying how clothing shaped human survival, and his research points to something surprising. Modern humans didn't just wear animal hides draped over their shoulders like blankets. They tailored them. Eyed needles made of bone, some over 40,000 years old, show that ancient people were stitching fitted garments, layered clothing designed to trap warm air against the body. This wasn't decoration. This was survival technology, refined over thousands of years of trial and error. Then there's the evidence from Sunghir, a site in what is now Russia, dated to roughly 34,000 years ago. Archaeologists uncovered burials there containing thousands of tiny ivory beads, arranged in patterns that suggest they were sewn onto clothing. Reconstructions show tightly fitted trousers, hooded parkas, and boots. This wasn't a single genius inventing winter wear. This was culture. Knowledge passed from parent to child, refined generation after generation, until surviving deep cold became something people simply knew how to do. Anthropologist John Hoffaker, who has spent decades studying how humans adapted to Arctic and subarctic environments, describes this as a shift in strategy. Other animals adapted to cold through fur, fat, and biology, changes that take thousands of generations to evolve. Humans adapted through behavior instead. Clothing, fire, shelter design, social cooperation. This meant your ancestors could move into brutally cold environments in a fraction of the time it would take a species to evolve fur on its own. Behavior became faster than biology. Think about that for a second. Your ancestors out-adapted evolution itself. So what did a winter day actually look like? Picture this. You wake up inside a dwelling built from mammoth bones and hides at a site like Mesrich in what is now Ukraine. The frame is made from massive bones, stacked and interlocked, covered in animal skins weighted down with more bone and packed earth. Outside, the wind is a wall of ice. Inside, a fire glows in a shallow pit, and the air around it is just warm enough to keep frostbite away. You're wearing layered clothing, an inner layer to wick moisture, an outer layer to block wind, exactly the same principle hikers pay hundreds of dollars for today. Someone next to you is repairing a boot seam with sinew thread. A child sleeps curled against an adult, because in extreme cold, shared body heat isn't comfort, it's medicine. Food matters just as much as shelter. Winter meant fewer plants, so diets shifted heavily toward fat and protein from hunted animals. Fat, in particular, was gold. Lean meat alone in extreme cold can actually be dangerous, a condition sometimes called rabbit starvation, where the body can't process too much protein without enough fat or carbohydrate alongside it. Your ancestors seem to know this instinctively, prizing fatty tissue, bone marrow, and organ meat above all else. Every part of an animal got used. Nothing was wasted because waste in a world like this could cost a life. Here's the counterintuitive twist. You'd think surviving in the coldest, harshest environments would require the most brutal, individualistic toughness. Survival of the fittest, every person for themselves. But the archaeological record tells a different story. The sites with the strongest evidence of survival through extreme winters also show the strongest evidence of cooperation. Shared shelters, communal fires, burial rituals that took enormous time and resources like the beadwork at Sunghir, dedicated to people who, in some cases, show signs of physical disability. Someone who could not hunt was still fed, clothed, and eventually honored in death. Surviving the deadliest winters on Earth wasn't a triumph of individual toughness. It was a triumph of the group. This changes the whole picture, doesn't it? We tend to imagine prehistoric life as brutal and isolating, every person fighting alone against the elements. But the humans who made it through the worst winters in history did it by depending on each other completely. A single person with a knife and a fire could not survive an Ice Age winter. A tight, cooperative group, sharing skills, food, and warmth, could survive almost anything. And that instinct never left you. Right now, when the temperature drops, you probably don't build a mammoth bone hut, but you still layer your clothing without thinking about it. You still gather with people you care about when the weather turns bad. You still associate warmth with closeness, both literally and emotionally. Ever notice how cold weather makes people want to be near each other? Share meals? Check in on family? That's not just modern comfort. That's tens of thousands of years of behavior, quietly still running in the background. Your ancestors turned the deadliest season on Earth into something survivable through clothing, shelter, fat-rich food, and above all, each other. They didn't out-muscle the Ice Age. They out-thought it, and they out-cooperated it. So the next time you step outside into biting air and your breath turns to fog, remember, that same cold once tried to kill every single one of your ancestors for tens of thousands of winters in a row, and every single time they found a way through. You're still here because they never stopped finding a way. Thank you everyone for watching and listening to the whole thing. Have a nice day. Although my content may not be good, I'll see you again. Goodbye!